it's Carly. Welcome or welcome back. It's so good to see you. I am so excited to be bringing you this video that is basically a book recommendation for a book that I discovered here just a few days ago thanks to the recommendation of someone that was on my live stream this last Friday. So that's a shameless plug to say, hey, check out my Friday live streams, if you haven't already. And oh my goodness, we are going to talk about this book, Astrology for the Soul by Jan Spiller. And really, I want to do my book recommendation off the top to say, regardless of what sign or house your personal North Node is in, I cannot recommend strongly enough that you check out this book, Astrology for the Soul by Jan Spiller, and just take it in, Like, even this message, just take it in and see what you think. Leave your feelers open as far as, does this resonate with you? Obviously, always, please, and thank you. And see what you think, because holy moly, that's what the back end of this video is going to be, is me talking as a Pisces North Node about my experience of going through listening to her Pisces North Node chapters. So I'm going to get into depth on the Pisces North Node placement because that's mine. All the placements are in there. I'm not going to cover them all in this video, but if you're at least even a little bit interested, and chances are, if you're still watching at this point in the video, you probably just need to go buy that book, because it is a life-changing experience to hear about your experiences from this angle. It's going to get us to look differently at the patterns of things that come up for us, the resident emotions and teachers that have just seemed to always be with us our whole lives. This North Node, South Node book can really help to illuminate, what is the karmic healing that you were coming forward to work on? What are the lessons that you're here to work on as far as the energies that you wanted to develop? You wanted to get stronger in these areas. There's a quote that I really love in the Virgo North Node chapter that says, all of us lack confidence in areas where we lack experience. All of us lack confidence in the areas where we lack experience. So the whole point of the North Node is that your soul doesn't have experience there. So chances are it's going to be uncomfortable, it's going to be awkward, it's going to feel the opposite of what feels safe and trusted and known. It's intentionally setting your sights on venturing off into the unknown, no matter what placement you have. So the way she has her chapters structured, in each section, it talks about a certain sign and the sign that the house is, the sign and which house it's associated with. So, soothing my Virgo South Node, it's okay to make mistake. You're okay. Just give a moment for the inner soothing. Oh, yes, very good. That's what I learned from the book, is girl, you've got to loosen up about the making of the mistakes thing. The whole trying to be perfect thing, it's not working for you. And I've known that my whole life, been trying to take off this shirt of trying to be perfect at everything that I ever do. And you know what? I think I'm finally ready enough to make a significant shift in this area, and that is where the universe brings me this book to say, hey, take in these words, hear it put this way, and see how much you still are struggling because you're trying to hang on to the old. The way she put it just made it crystal clear about, I don't want the old. I don't agree with the old. I do want the new. So it just sank it in on a deeper level, everything that I was already going through. And that being said, I have listened to the Pisces chapters 3 times now. So just start it back over and take it in again, and start it back over and take it in again. There were some hours in between. It wasn't all in one go. And the first time I listened to it, I just listened to it and took it in. And had the delicious experience of all of the knowing and insight and clarity and examples of my freaking life that like she could have written this about me personally. It's almost like it did make me feel vulnerable that I would come out and say like, hey, go read this book, and then like fully confess to like, yeah, the Pisces North Node, Virgo South Node, like that's me. Like I feel a duty to tell you like that's really how I am on the inside. And so if you're interested, go support Jan Spiller's work. She released that book back in 1997, and it just like makes me so freaking grateful for how creative people through time have put their things out into the physical world, and then they're there for anybody who's ready to rendezvous with it at any time. Like here I am in 2022 finding this book for the first time, didn't know it existed, like was brought here through Universal Cooperative Components, who recommended it to me through an event that I was inspired to schedule and host. And like it's just the pieces, they fall into place to bring you the clarity that you need in any given time. And for me, that's why I'm making a video about it, because it just, I can't hardly even put into words like how powerful it was to just like take it in and experience it. And so then the second time I listened to it, I took notes. And the third time I listened to it, I also took notes, but from a different angle of like, the first time was very much like my interpersonal, like working through the energy of what I was processing and like what it was bringing up inside of me. And then this third time I listened to it with this video in mind about like, I am so passionately excited to share the things that are in this book. I listened to it on Audible. And so, lost my train of thought, but that's okay. Yeah, so excited to share what's in this book, but each like sign section, so there's like 5 or 6 chapters inside of each sign, and to listen to all of that is probably at least like a couple hours. So like now I don't even know where the hell was I going with that. So excited to offer this video to you. Yeah, okay, the point was that how on earth am I ever going to relay 2 hours worth of material? That's where I instantly knew, like, this has to just be a book recommendation. Like, you need to go get the book and you need to take in the full 2-hour version. So even if you skip the whole rest of my video, like, go spend your time taking in the chapters that pertain to you. And that being said, you know, mine happens to be a situation where my North Node is in Pisces in the 12th house, and the 12th house is the house associated with Pisces. So like for me to read the sign and the house was actually the same chapter. All of it was the Pisces chapter because that also covers the 12th house. Let's say that you're a Pisces North Node, but your Pisces North Node is in the 1st house. So in that situation, that person would want to read or listen to the Pisces chapter and would listen to the Aries / 1st house chapter. And then through an intuitive process, you put all that back together to see like, you know, which parts really resonate with you and your path. Because in a situation like that, where it's a Pisces North Node in the 1st house, parts of the 1st house journey are going to resonate, parts of the Pisces journey are going to resonate. And you put it back together as best you can. And I can tell you from personal experience that things like that, like even just listening to the same chapters 3 different times in the last couple days, every time I hear it, I'm putting different life experiences in it for myself. Like as I listen to it on repeat, which I probably will continue to do for a while, it's like I understand it a little bit more. And then the next time I listen to it, it's like I understand it this much. And then the next time I listened to it, it was like I understood it this much. And so it's just like this deepening of like, who am I and what is the purpose of me being here right now? Like I personally believe, just in a bigger picture sense, that we chose our starting point. We chose our family. We have a path that we intended to walk. We had lessons that we came to work on, healing that we brought with us to work on while we're here. And those intentions are a lot wrapped up in the North Node and the South Node. So I do have a couple things to like sum up the book description part. So, and I have notes that I'm going to try to follow, but you know, I'm like barely a trained monkey at this point, so trying to stay on the page is like, yeah, good luck. So, two things to wrap up the book description. The things that I felt like I got out of it, so if this is like my final recommendation of like you should go get this, the two things that I feel like I got out of it was I'm getting closer and closer to being able to narrow in on my personal flow, like my personal rhythm inside myself and inside this world, like who am I and who am I here to be? I feel like I got closer to that in a significant way, and considering the book is like $16 or something like that, like that's pretty affordable. Second thing I got was self-forgiveness and acceptance, and to hear the rest of that, you're gonna have to stick around to the Pisces North Node part, where I'm going to go through kind of in detail her Pisces North Node chapters and give you kind of a sense. I mean, if you are a Pisces North Node, hello, welcome to the party. Can we be friends? Because I feel like we could like really help each other out. Tell me in the comments, like if maybe, hello. Even if you're not, like this is gonna hopefully paint a picture of what kinds of information is in the book and what kinds of revelations are possible. Self-forgiveness, self-acceptance, how is that possible with a $16 book? Oh my goodness, let me tell you. So before I jump into the Pisces North Node part, I do want to take just a second, pause for the cause, as it were, and make sure that this content is approachable on a beginner level. That's something that just resonates with me personally. So skip ahead. If you're already fully versed in North Node, South Node, karmic astrology, what all that entails, by all means, jump to the next chapter because this is going to be a repeat. If you're new to any of these terms, please allow me to spread them out a little bit and give some space to these very important, super amazing concepts that have transformed my life for sure, and my understanding of like not only myself, but how each of us is so unique. Like I've been, doing my spiritual work for however long, whatever, doesn't matter. It's all just a big work in progress. But up until this morning, I still was holding on to like a certain version of what was gonna get you into this like blissful state. And so I'm a Pisces North Node, and I have a creative assistant named Maddie, who's a Virgo North Node. So like Pisces North Node, Virgo South Node, North Node in Virgo, South Node in Pisces. So like the opposite. And I go and I listen to the Virgo North Node chapter this morning, and I see how her soul's path, like the way that she's meant to evolve during this incarnation with her North Node in Virgo, the recommendations of like how she should handle life and conflict and relationships and all of that, like it is literally the opposite. It is literally the opposite prescription than what I should be doing as a Pisces North Node. So like that opened my eyes, like big time, in a really cool way, I think, because that's necessary to like continue to acknowledge how unique each of us are, how true it really is that like we are all individuals that intended, like source energy, the universe itself intended for our individual essence to be here. That's why we're here. That's why we're physical. And these individual essences, they are limitless in the ways that like each of us is unique. Each of us possesses a unique set of superpowers, a unique set of tools, a unique path towards their own spiritual evolution. And like I realize how, like listening to that this morning, the contrast between like here's what a Pisces North Node should do and here's what a Virgo North Node should do, and they were just like exactly opposite. So it's like for serious, beware when you go out into the spiritual community or the world at large, really, any kind of belief system. Beware of like people telling you you should. Like even me, I mean, I have a whole thing on bed rest and like we should be resting more often and we should be like, you know, letting go of blah, 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 and like letting go of stress and resting and like detaching from our tasks and all of these things. But like that's a Virgo South Node, Pisces North Node path. And if you're the opposite, like in this example, if you're the Virgo North Node, a little bit, that's not really your path. That's like a very different path from what your soul's evolution intended to look like. So it is so fascinating for me as a student of astrology, as a student of life and spirituality and our soul's essence in this great mystery of a universe. Like there's no limit of ways that we can heal and evolve and get better and more and expand and all of these concepts. And that's exactly where the North Node is leading us. Like, so to put it very simply, I'm going to put some words on the screen here as far as like North Node and South Node. So the North Node is the future, the South Node is the past. The North Node is our North Star, so pointing us toward, I think I might be switching hands here, so if that's the case, you know, maybe I just like put my hands down. So North Node is the future, South Node is the past, North Node is the North Star, the South Node is our karmic past, so like our past life experiences, our traumas, and our growth and strengths that we've acquired through those past life experiences. So when we say karmic past, it's not all bad. Karma isn't bad by nature. Karma is equal to what happened. So like either there's positive ripple effects or there's negative ripple effects, and either way it all comes, hello, I'm sorry. That's Dobby, and I just punched him in the leaf. I'm sorry, Dobby. I'm gonna make it. You're gonna make it. He's a tough guy. It's a very resilient plant. Don't let Dobby fool you. He's very strong. What was I saying? Oh yes, these words. So the North Node is growth. The South Node is healing. The North Node is developing energies because we don't already possess a good amount of them. And when I say that, that has to also kind of be taken with a grain of salt, just because like if you have other planets in that same sign as your North Node, for example, my North Node is at 17 degrees of Pisces, and so is my Mars. So like they are sitting at the same exact point in the sky. And I gotta think that that exaggerates maybe like the likelihood of how likely you are to eventually like break free of your comfort zone, aka your South Node, your past, where you're comfortable at, and walk into the discomfort of learning a brand new skill set. You know, it's like switching careers at 40 years old. Like that takes a ton of courage. Or going back to school when you're like later in life, like tons of courage to like leave behind your old identity and assume a new one. Tons of courage. So that is really exciting to like understand as far as like energetic signposts is basically how I use this inside of myself, which continues to evolve. Like I said, up until this morning, like I'm a lot more sensitive to the fact that this may not be right for everybody. But how it all shakes out inside of me is like when early on, there's the part of like developing an awareness of what your South Node energy feels like what is the function of your South Node energy, and what does your North Node energy feel like? What is the function of that, and how does it show up inside of yourself? And then with an awareness of both of these, it's an intellectual understanding. It's an intellectual understanding of like, you know, if you're seeing your South Node energy, you're looking at it in the face, you're recognizing those tendencies inside of your right now behavior, you can recognize that you're going towards the past. You're creating more of what was. You're perpetuating whatever existed before. And if you're witnessing your South Node energies, then by definition, like, we can only think one thought at a time, then you're not adding momentum and fuel to your North Node energies. So that North Node is our North Star. It's the point of our soul's purpose when we, and so soul's purpose is a highly sought after topic. There's a reason that I put it in the title of this video, because there's a very prevalent desire to know what purpose we serve on this planet. Like, what is the reason that we're even here? To sip coffee and contemplate fun things, duh. I'm just kidding. That's just my life's purpose. But for real, on a little bit, my life's purpose is to chill out and contemplate fun things. Contemplate whatever helps my soul feel blissful. That's a little foreshadowing into the Pisces North Node that's really the whole point. And for, depending on what sign your North Node is in, the whole point of your life is different. It's based on your sign and the house where your North Node is located. It's also influenced by any other planets it's touching or aspecting. Those are the lines in the middle of the chart. So if there are lines coming off of your North Node and South Node to other planets, then that means your soul's purpose is linked into those other planets. And it's a very delicious, yummy, time-consuming, but the time's going by anyway. You got to spend your time somehow. Why not spend it in a totally delicious way of getting to know yourself and your higher purpose in this world? Seems like a good idea to me, but then again, I'm a Pisces North Node, and that's what we're going to talk about next. Okay, so Pisces North Node, Virgo South Node. I really love how Jan Spiller put together the chapters in this book and how she talks about it as one cohesive path, being the South Node in Virgo combined with the North Node in Pisces. It's one path. A lot of other places that I've seen, it's like working with the South Node, and here's about the South Node, and we're focusing on the South Node, and then separately, it's like, here's the North Node, and here's this part. And she has so much woven it all together into, it's one experience. The sister signs, in any case, developing one of them will help balance the shadow energies of the other. So getting better over here helps you to heal this one. So it's not something where first we do the South Node and then we do the North Node. It is a very simultaneous process of both of them all together. That breaking free of our South Node isn't even going to be possible until our North Node energy is strong enough to hold us. So you can really think about it I am building my South Node while I'm healing my North Node. It's doing all these things at the same time, and that really they feed into each other. The things that we're healing in our Virgo end, really any South Node end, the traits of your North Node are what you need to help heal this part. So it's a very simultaneous mixture of both developing Pisces and harnessing and healing the Virgo end, or the South Node end of the spectrum. So the best way to put this is I'm just going to go for the jugular. I feel right now I'm talking to my fellow Pisces North Node, Virgo South Nodes, and I'm right here too. The full disclaimer before we even jump into any of this is I am hitting you with these points very intentionally, because these are the ones that landed in the pit of my stomach and sucked the air out of me. How did she write this about my life? How does she know this about me? So I'm going to just go with my intuition, which apparently is what I'm supposed to be doing. And I'm going to share the points that really whoa. And the first one is Pisces North Nodes have a tendency to live their lives lives avoiding criticism. Like every single thing and choice that they do is set up in a way to avoid criticism. And that landed big time right off the bat, because the whole point of a Pisces North Node is basically to disengage from the physical. Like when you have an Earth South Node, that means like you are a very earthly grounded person. You have skills in the physical world. And a Water North Node is you're here to develop your emotional energy, your emotional intelligence, your ability to read energy, your ability to heal yourself and others. That's where your work is. And especially for the Earth South Nodes, hearing that like your whole purpose is in the water realm, you're like, WTF, like I'm not built for that. You're right. You're not built for it. You're here to develop it. You're here to practice it. You're here to learn how to do it. So if you're watching this, chances are you've already had the experience of being shown just how capable you are in this area. Where like I spent the first 25 years of my life basically believing that I don't have emotions, which looking back now, I don't know how I believed that, but I did. And then I got an emotional intelligence test as part of work. They sent us to this training, whatever. And as part of it, we did this test and I get my results and it's like the most emotionally intelligent person in the class. And it's like, I don't even have emotions. So how could I possibly be emotionally intelligent? Like I couldn't even see it. It was so foreign to me. And actually, it's just right there. It's like, it's totally available. It's just a matter of us allowing ourselves to see it and turn into it. So I'm talking like this inside of the Pisces North Node space because this is my experience and maybe it's also true for other Pisces North Nodes. Maybe it's true for all North Nodes. I don't know that and I can't say because, I can only speak from my own experience. So, like Pisces North Node, because we're disengaging from the Earth realm and learning how to operate in the water realm, the healing realm, the unconditional love and compassion and acceptance realm, that criticism is one of our, we are the most criticized because we're the most afraid of it, the Virgo South Node people. So every time we're criticized, that is the universe trying to get us to pry our fingers off of holding on to what's going on in the material realm. Let go of those external circumstances and turn inward to trust the universe, to trust that no matter what happens, it's all exactly as it's supposed to be. There is no mistake, there is no imperfection, everything is inherently perfect just because it happened. That's the leap of faith that Pisces North Node is expected to make. So when I tell you I got that emotional intelligence thing back that kind of opened my mind up, that was at 25. So that was 8 years ago. It took me a minute to really open up to my emotions and my emotional world inside of myself. There's so much unknown when you venture off into spirituality. There is no right answer. That's the whole point of spirituality. It's an internal personal experience. And as far as Virgo South Node is concerned, that lack of definition is the most terrifying thing there is. So there's a reason that our North Node energy is out of reach. It's where we are meant to grow and reach for and develop, and like the North Star that's over there and you're walking towards it. So even if you're only taking one step a day towards it in that direction, the real victory is even being mindful in, am I headed towards my South Node, meaning my past, or am I headed towards my North Node, meaning my future? Trusting the North Star, trusting the North Node. And I think that's probably important no matter which sign it's in, is trusting that if you're feeling a pull between this energy and this energy, your South Node and your North Node, your past and your future, I mean, technically you get to make your own choice, but oh my goodness, me personally, I'm going with the future every time. When I feel my South Node energies creeping up on me, I know that that's a moment where I need to relax. I need to chill out. I need to let go. I need to step away because I'm a Pisces North Node. Like, we get into trouble because our Virgo sense of overanalyzing everything and coming up with all the plans and all the contingency plans for all the plans and the contingency plans for the contingency plans of the plans, like, got you covered. Got you covered on the detail front. And we can shoot ourselves in the foot because we are so consumed in the details and like getting all the details done and checking all the things off the list that we lose track of like, what are you even doing? What's even the point of like, what's the vision of the, like the emotional impact that you're trying to make? Like, what is the point of your life? The details are how you get there, but what is ultimately the point? And this is a good part to like add in and emphasize like just how different it is as far as like what is your soul's path based on what your North Node is. Because if you're a Virgo North Node, so like you've got it flipped from the Pisces North Node, their path is really to lean in to the physical details, to lean in to making a plan and doing it, to lean into whatever discomfort exists in their life, to face it head on from like a practical standpoint of I'll face you and I'll solve you, I'll find a solution. And Pisces North Node is the exact opposite of like when you hit a road bump, walk away from it, leave it alone, just leave it alone, let the universe sort it out. Pisces North Node, like the example that she uses in the book is something like, you know, with the Pisces North Node, early on, we tend to try to like be in a power boat on the river and like trying to drive ourselves upstream. So like you're trying to use your power to like just get it done, like no matter what's happening in the world, no matter what the energy flow is doing. Oh, so resonate with all of that. And she's like, really, Pisces North Node is about like swapping the motorboat for a canoe and maybe even throw away the paddles and just trust that wherever that river floats your canoe, it's meant to be. And if the river at some point floats your canoe like up onto a little beach area, then maybe that's meant to be. Maybe that's where you're supposed to be right now. Like trusting the flow of the universe. Like Pisces North Node, that's really what we're here to do. And I would say like I feel this from my clients that I have that have other water North Nodes, where like for an Earth South Node to let go of trying to control things in the physical, there's nothing more scary than that. That's terrifying. That is like letting go of your safety blanket and plunging yourself into something that you cannot control and you don't even know what it is. And all you got to do is trust. And like that sounds like the most foreign concept in the whole world. So I get it. I totally get it. I am still very much a work in progress when it comes to all of these things. Learning unconditional love, that is not a small task. It's also not one that I intend to rush through. Like that is my soul's purpose as a Pisces North Node, is to learn, and I think even more than learn, to embody unconditional love, to show up in the world as one who loves unconditionally, to offer what that looks like to the world. Like here's an example of what it looks like to love unconditionally. And it starts at home. It starts inside of our own mind. Like the criticism that Virgo is so well known for, especially Virgo South Node. Like basically Virgo in general can be extremely critical, especially in like a lower frequency, like especially if it's a Virgo South Node where you have karma around this. Like basically how she put it, and this really helped it sink into me, because I feel like it is like a life and death panic situation when I make a mistake. Like that's how hard I take it. I'm devastated, like at my core, like losing the bottom of my stomach, like just devastated at a mistake. Like, oh my God, the world is over. That's, yes. And how she put it was like that Virgo South Node, it represents like a tie to health. Typically Virgo and health are very closely associated, as is the 6th house and health. And that Virgo South Node were likely doctors or nurses or psychiatrists or something like that, where your job was to like help people get healthy, and even in like a surgery kind of sense, like maybe even saving their lives. And that when you made a mistake, it was possible that it would cost someone their life. So Virgo South Node was dealing in life or death situations. And the reason for that, this is fun as far as like feeling our way into owning the skill set that Virgo gives us, that Virgo South Node gives us. It's like, just like the Virgo North Node quote I read, all of us lack confidence in areas where we lack experience. So Virgo South Node indicates that you have tremendous success with achieving results in the physical world. You have already done that many times in the past. You have so much confidence, you're willing in past lives to take someone else's life into your hands because you were so confident that you could do what you thought you could do. And like, talk about just like feeling seen. I mean, that just feels so good. Like, yeah, I do have that skill. Like, to just, I mean, I spent so much time like trying to get it perfect, like trying to have it be perfect. I'm perfect. What I'm doing is perfect. What I'm making is perfect. Like, all of it's perfect. And what comes with that is just like master level anxiety. And from the anxiety, depression, because you can't ever fix it fully perfect enough. And from there, I mean, you can spiral down for as long as you want. And I've spent years on the struggling to make it perfect enough end of the spectrum. And with Pisces North Node, it is only ever in realizing that like, you're not even here to enact your plan. It's not your plan. It's the universe's plan. So stop thinking that you know the plan, because you don't. So if there's something that feels like it's not going according to plan, whose plan? Whose plan are we even talking about here? Because the universe never gets it wrong. The universe doesn't make mistakes. So mistakes are in the eye of the beholder. Mistakes are a victim mentality that says like, I'm going to throw a fit because my plans aren't getting enacted upon. But that's trying to take away like the whole function of the universe. And again, if you're a Virgo North Node, if you're like here to make a plan and figure it out and apply your skills, like, they have such rich, Virgo North Node in this case, like, they have such rich experience in the spiritual world and the emotional world. Like, they just have this inherent connection to all that is and the interconnectedness of all things, and like our higher self, our spiritual self, the other realms that it's possible to connect to. And like, they're really good at that. And in this lifetime, Virgo North Node is here to figure it out in the physical world because they don't have experience there yet. They're here to gain that experience that comes from working in the physical world, where Pisces North Node is here to gain the confidence and the experience that comes from working in the emotional realm. So emotional intelligence, learning how to find your way to a blissful inner space, is basically the journey that Pisces North Node is here to go on. And I, for one, was like so relieved and relaxed and validated through listening to Astrology for the Soul, in terms of like Pisces North Node, like, your job is to let go. You're not here to make it happen in the physical world. You're here to trust the universe to deliver something that is so much sweeter and better than you can ever even imagine. And I've seen it happen enough times in my life where I know that that's what's going on. I know. And it's only ever my own healing, my own past life tendency to slip back into needing to be perfect, like I take it so seriously when I make a mistake. And I'm learning, like, in this lifetime to laugh at the mistakes, because that was exactly what needed to happen. And that's where my whole path of like owning authenticity, my son, like where it comes from in the first place is wanting to heal that perfectionist tendency And I didn't even know, like years ago when I started down this path of like, I'm going to heal that part of myself. Like I can feel that it does not serve me. I can feel that I am torturing myself with this perfectionist tendency. That, yeah, my attention to detail is brilliant. I can do attention to detail. I can do that. It kills my soul a little bit at a time when I do it. When I try to push the noodle out in the physical world, it takes a little bit away from my soul. And in the past, it's taken me a while to recognize what I'm doing and what's happening, and only just in these last few months, and I feel like that's why this 1997 book is like just now coming into my life, because I'm just now ready for it, is like I feel this deepening of surrender, of trusting, like what my canoe is doing. Am I floating? Am I on rapids? Am I washed ashore somewhere? Doesn't matter. I'm gonna blissfully explore like whatever is there, whatever's present with me. That's where I am right now. That's what I'm gonna trust that the universe is giving me, because that's what I need. So I'm just gonna like surrender control to the universe. And again, for most Earth South nodes, they're like, no, I'm not. You can't make me. Like, okay, fine, I'll be spiritual, but I'm still gonna have a job. I'm still gonna like be grounded in the Earth realm. I'm still gonna make sure I have enough money. I can't, like, okay, fine, I'll be spiritual, but like, I'm not gonna give up control to like the universe. Like, no. What do you think spirituality is? What do you think it is? It is giving up control. It is being okay. It is radical acceptance of what is, whatever is, however you are, however they are, however the world is. It's okay. It's all working out exactly as it should be. The universe is like, yep, right on schedule. So perfect. They're thrilled. They are like, the universe is thrilled with the perfection of the way that things are unfolding. And it's only ever us that cut ourselves off from being able to see it that way. And we cut ourselves off through needing things to happen according to our plan. And as a Pisces North Node, we are not meant to get to really know the plan. We get to know the right now step of the plan, and we find our way there through finding our own internal blissful experience. And again, I feel like that statement right there, the finding our way to our own internal blissful experience, that is a well that goes a million miles deep. Like, how do you do that? How does that even happen? How do I even begin to unclench my grip on needing to control things in the physical realm? Where do I even start? I'm challenging my own Virgo South Node right now by posing questions to myself that I don't know the answers to. And that's step one. Like, start taking more risks. Like, that's basically all it is. It's like, you don't need a plan. You don't need a plan for everything. Like, you think you do, because that's how you protect yourself. But all the plans in the world, all the doing the right thing and like doing it perfectly, all of that won't protect you from confrontations and criticism. And like you can do it perfectly, and there can still be something that shows up in your world that says, oh no, you don't. And it has to. That's the part about Virgo South Node that like was very relaxing to me personally, that like let me off the hook in terms of this self-forgiveness and self-acceptance. I have two things that when I think about regret, personally, it's just such an unconstructive emotion as far as my belief that we should be learning from things and incorporating lessons learned and implementing changed behavior. You do it differently next time, basically. And then, let go of the regret, because it doesn't really serve you. But there are two things in my life that like I just cannot. Like, everything else that I've done wrong, that's not to say I haven't made mistakes or like done things that I don't think are shitty when I look back at them. No, there are those things too. But these two, I like actually regret. Like, I look back and I feel bad that happened. Because like, God, I just wish I could go back and like do it differently. And it's so interesting, like when you look at what those things were, because basically the idea of Virgo South Node is that even when, and maybe especially when, things are chugging along, like at a, oh my God, this is going really well, like this is working, this is all going great, and we're talking in the physical realm, like things are unfolding, this is all going exactly how I want it to. Virgo South Node, the universe has to throw a wrench in it. It just has to. And hear me out, because it has to show you that perfection in the physical world, it doesn't really exist, and more importantly than that, it doesn't matter. It's not what you're here for. And so, especially when we're focused on creating in the physical world, that's when the universe has to like put up a block that says like, I can't allow you to create this perfectly. I know you're capable of doing that, but I have to put factors into it outside your control so that you can see that this is not, the earth realm is not where your power is. Like those setbacks, those things that happen where like it's not perfect the way we wanted it to be, or it's not going according to our plans, those are trying to get us to wake up to where our true power really comes from. And again, I'm a work in progress when it comes to this. Like I am actively working on the South Node themes of like being terrified of criticism, absolutely terrified. Being terrified of walking away from something that I know isn't good for me, but I'm afraid I'm going to disappoint other people, so I need to stay because like, you know, I said I would. And like I'm in the middle of that right now. So like I'm just a fluffy haired girl on the internet. That's my favorite tagline is like, you got to take what I say with a grain of salt, because I am very much in the practice mode of all of these things. I am not trying to say like I have this all figured out, because I still find myself like I wake up from a trance and I'm in the middle of spinning in my Virgo South Node, I got to make it perfect thing and like trying to control it thing. It still happens. I mean, like maybe not all the time, like obviously like I'm getting better and better and better, but infinitely. But it still happens. It still happens. And part of the Pisces North Node is learning self-compassion. Like ultimately, I mean, yes, what we're learning is compassion and unconditional love for all that is, like the interconnectedness of all that is, like the oneness that we all are a part of. Like we are learning to like really embrace the goodness of all of that. But the path to get there, it's like you got to go in to get out. Like you got to love yourself. You got to be compassionate with yourself. You got to accept yourself, your own flaws. Like she says in the book, in the Pisces chapter, about how when we Virgo South Nodes are criticizing other people, it's that subconsciously those are the kinds of critiques that we're worried people are launching at us. So like basically we distract ourselves by critiquing others and the path in all of that, the healing path in all of that, is to take that moment where you catch yourself in critique of another person and you remember back to this moment where we all learn together that when we feel ourselves criticizing another, that is the moment when it is time to come back and love ourselves a little deeper, because it is only an insecure self that wants to criticize other people. So when we are whole and content and in our own blissful inner space, there's nothing but love for others. There's no criticism, even constructive criticism. I'm right there with you on, but it's constructive. I'm only trying to help. It's true. Virgo South Nodes, I love us. Like, I love us so much. I love the attention to detail. I love our inherent way of just knowing how to be of service to people, knowing how to meet someone and just help them. Like, we are so good at being of service in the physical realm. And now it is time to take that step into the emotional realm, into the spiritual realm, where our capacity, our magnitude of service is, it's so much bigger than anything that these two hands can accomplish in the physical world. You only have these two hands in the physical. In non-physical, in the spiritual realm, in your emotional energy, you can connect to the oneness of all that is, and you can affect ripple effects through mass consciousness collective. So it is worthwhile to like go in to get out. Like the in part, cultivating the alone time, that's something that she talks about in the book. As far as like, she says 40 minutes. I think it's so random that she picked like 40 minutes. I wish she had put a little thing about like, why 40 minutes? I'm just curious about how specific that is. Personally, I found my way to my morning time, like self-introspection time, a few years ago, and got there by starting with like 10 minutes. I played myself this thing that I felt really uplifted by. Like I could just feel like how much better it made me feel. It was an Abraham Hicks recording that was like 13 minutes long, and I played it while I was in the shower. And it started like uplifting me so much. My insides felt so much better. So I started getting up like 10 to 15 minutes earlier so that I could listen to that same recording in the morning and then go get in my shower and listen to a second one. And that was, however long ago. And over time, I've built it up to where at this point, as a Pisces North Node, my profession, as I've like come to understand that we Virgo South Nodes are meant to let go of any definition of ourselves by earthly standards. So like at this point, I'm understanding my profession as like professional rester. Like I'm here to rest. I'm here to go inward and then act on whatever is there. I'm here to like cultivate my own light and then act on, the universe is floating my canoe down the river and they put me ashore somewhere, AKA like someone winds up in front of me and I give them some light. Like, hey, here's some light that I had. I made this, you can have it. And then I go back on and I like, make some more light and like give it away to this person who the universe brought me to. And then go make some more light and then give it away to this person. Like, that is basically what I'm doing. That's my whole life, that I don't have a job, I don't have a profession, I'm anti-career at this point. I'm a professional rester. That's what I'm doing. And I am working in my energetic space. I am working to achieve a blissful inner space for myself where I feel my connection to source energy, to my true power, no matter what's going on in my physical reality, no matter what anybody else thinks, no matter what anybody else is doing, no matter what anybody else is choosing for their life experience, my power exists inside of me. So it's just a matter of turning inward. And when I turn inward and I connect with universal, unconditional love, I have a whole new vantage point on life and the people in my life and the way that I want to spend my time on a daily basis. And at this point, either it adds to my inner bliss or I'm not doing it. And that shedding of the Virgo South Node skin of like, Virgo South Node is so consumed in their role. Like, this is who I am, and I have an idea of like who this person is that I have to live up to. And like, we Virgo South Nodes, like that idea is like up here above our heads. We're like, it's just not even possible to like be that person, but that's who we're trying to be inside our role. And that's where like all the anxiety and all that comes from. But it's like letting go of, I don't have a role. I have energy that flows through me. I have a life force. And I think that's good enough. I think that's like all the further definition that's necessary. And beyond that, it's like a moment by moment treasure hunt in terms of like, where's the universe gonna float my canoe to next? Like, I'm so excited to see that. So yeah, like surrendering to the flow of universal will. It's like this idea of, okay, so here's a fun story that I feel like is so my Pisces North Node in action. where going with our own flow, even when we don't feel good, it's exactly what's meant to unfold. Like, I went to this yoga retreat a few years ago, and I was so depressed. It was like one of the lowest points in my life. And so because of that, I just totally withdrew. I was in my room most of the time, crying. So freaking upset. And I just like hadn't reached out, hadn't talked to anybody in days. I didn't go to the retreat with anybody. I went by myself. So it was very easy to just like close in and just like basically have a pity party in there for a little while. And eventually, I was okay. I was done with that part of my pity party, and I was ready to reemerge. And I had skipped, like, the yoga retreat where I was at was like they offered 2 classes a day, and none of it was mandatory at the one where I was, which was very nice. So I skipped a couple, and so now I'm like ready to go. I'm ready to go and do the class. And I was so ready that it was like half an hour before the class was supposed to start, and I just like got this like, I want to go now. I want to go and put my mat on the platform. It was like right on the ocean, so like I want to lay on my mat and like listen to the waves and just feel the sun on my skin. Like I'll go early. I'll just lay there for 30 minutes and then get up and do the class when it starts. And I go out there and I see that there's already a person on the platform in the spot where I wanted to set up my mat. And I can't describe it other than my old self would have like put my mat as far away from that person as I possibly could, because like I wouldn't want to run the risk of them speaking to me, because I'm like so anxious. I can't hardly have a conversation with a stranger without having like a full-blown panic attack. So get away from all the people and like be over here as far away as you can. And I didn't. I saw her there in the spot where I wanted and was like, yeah, I'm gonna go put my mat by hers. And so I did. And that struck up a conversation. We ended up talking for the full 30 minutes before the class started. And then she was there for like that evening and the next morning, and then her trip was over and she left. So I caught her like right on the end of her trip. I went and sat by her, which up until then was very out of character for me. And I just like went with this flow of ease and just like, I have no idea what I'm going to say to her, but yeah, I want to go put my mat over there by her. And so I did. And then what we ended up talking about was she was in a relationship, had been for several years, and they weren't engaged, but they were living together, renting together, and he hadn't like done anything wrong. Like there wasn't anything wrong with him, but her heart wasn't in it. She like didn't want to be with him, and she didn't know how to tell him, because nothing had gone wrong. Like he didn't cheat, he's not abusive, he's a good guy, he works hard, like he's okay to live with, like, but I'm not in love with him. And she felt like very like trapped in that, and that like was right on the heels. I mean, me being at that yoga retreat was about 6 or 7 months after I had canceled my own wedding. So I was engaged for like 6 or 7 months, and 6 weeks before the wedding, basically one day I'm leaving work and I just start bawling, and like I don't even like cry really at this point. So like, what WTF, like what is happening here? And I cried for quite a while before it like clicked in my head, and this voice told me, you have to cancel the wedding. And it wasn't the part that always stands out to me is like, it wasn't I need to cancel my wedding. Like it wasn't like a realization that rose up from inside of me like I am gonna do this. It was like, you need to. And I genuinely believe, and like this is just, you know, me making sense of my own experience, is like I genuinely believe that was my own higher self speaking to me in that moment, because I did need to. I was having thoughts like, you know, hopefully this guy and I will get divorced in like a year or two so that I can like get back to living my life. Like these were the thoughts I was having while I was engaged. Before I was married, I was like already planning my divorce. I'm like, why was I like, I was like getting married. I was going to get married to him. Like, oh my gosh. And so that day that I walk out of work and I just like randomly start bawling, like I think it was like a Pisces North Node type epiphany where like you're doing this for all the wrong reasons. You're doing this for like the role of the label of married and like owning a house and like settling down and like your late 20s and like the societal pressures of like, that is why you're doing this. Like, not because you want to. Your heart is not in this. And so I was crying because I was terrified at how am I going to do this? How am I going to tell my whole life? Like, not only him, but my parents, his parents, like our work, we worked at the same place. Like, how am I going to tell everybody that this is what's happening? Oh my God, like I'm such a failure. And as I moved through that process of canceling my wedding, first I Googled, how do you cancel a wedding? The first step, unsurprisingly, is tell the other person that you want to cancel a wedding. I shit you not. So that was good. It was very helpful that Google was there for me with those steps. And from there, as I walked through that path of like dissolving that engagement and canceling the wedding, doing the things that you need to do to like, you know, notify everybody that that's not happening anymore, it was so much easier than I thought it was gonna be. Like, I was crying because I was terrified at like what people were gonna think about me and how devastated he's gonna be and on and on. And as it all unfolded, I realized like basically he was just as miserable as I was, and neither of us was really willing to admit it. And we were still going to get married. It was like musical chairs. Like, time was up and we were both kind of in that place of like just wanting to just make a commitment and like have that sense of security. And we're just kind of like doing it on autopilot almost. And that moment in the garage where I just like lost it and realized like, you have to cancel the wedding. And I was like, okay, yeah, I do need to do that. That's what's right for me. That's what feels right on the inside. And basically the universe just like lined everything up so that was like as easy on me as it possibly could be. And so all of that had happened 6 or 7 months before I'm sitting on this platform on the beach with this random person from like Maryland or Pennsylvania or some shit. I'd never met her before, never saw her again, emailed her a couple times after she left, and that was it. I was there in that moment to tell her that story of me canceling my wedding. And in that moment, it was exactly what she needed to hear. She had like impromptu decided to schedule herself this trip. She was only at the retreat for like 3 days. I was there for like 14. And she had only decided to come like a week or two before. And so for her to even be sitting in that spot, like all of that came together to put her there within a couple weeks before it happened. Plus, I had been so depressed and managed to pull myself together in time to make it to that session, even though I wallowed in my room for like 2 days and was just like, poor, pitiful Carly, this was the worst thing. I was so sad. It needed to happen. It had to come out. Anyways, so yeah, to like really stop and think about what the universe is able to line up for us to be of service to other people. Like, I couldn't have taken that story of like, here I canceled my wedding and like taken it and found somebody who needs to hear it. Like, how do you even go about doing that? And that's like the Virgo end of like, let me make a plan, let me figure out how to accomplish this in the physical world. It's like, in the Pisces realm, it's such an inner surrender and then being brought to the perfect place at the perfect time so that you can be of spiritual service to someone who needs it. Because like, she went home from that yoga retreat and moved out of that place that she lived with her boyfriend. Like, I'm not saying that you always need to like, you know, blow up your relationship, but that's what she wanted, and she just like wasn't giving herself permission to move in that direction. And then there I was with this story about I canceled my wedding, and like her, he hadn't done anything wrong. Like, nothing, there was no precipitating event. Like, as far as he was concerned, it came out of nowhere. But like the whole time, like, I knew that the connection isn't what I want. he knew, I think, on some level that the connection is not what he truly wants, but like both of us were in it for right now, you know? And I just got to a place where that wasn't like really good enough. Like I wanted a deeper connection than that. I wanted something that was a closer fit with my soul, not just like a connection that looks good on paper. So I walked away from that engagement, and that story served to empower this other person to do what she wanted in her life and to like stand in her own power, her own sense of worth, her own ability to like discern within her situation like what feels good to her and what doesn't, and to line up with that and take action on it. So the fact that I could be there for this random person in the universe, like it was so deeply satisfying. And that happened, you know, several years ago now, to where I feel like I've referred back to that experience many, many, many times to say, like, the more I relax into myself, the more I will just be delivered to the perfect place at the perfect time with the perfect people, and the perfect words will flow through me. Like, even that, the perfect words will flow through me. That's one of my regrets, was something that blurted out of my mouth. And I don't even remember at this point exactly what I said. I know the implication of it was basically, you're fat. And I, like as soon as I said what I said, like the way I said it, it was such an authentic, in the moment, it popped out of my mouth. I didn't even think about it. And the reaction on the person's face was like devastation. Like she was devastated by what I said, like obviously, and we're in a work situation. So like now we've got the rest of the day to finish. Like it was so, gosh. And I've beat myself up so many times for saying that to her. And that was towards the end of me working at that place. Fast forward to several years later, I was like maybe 20 at this time, maybe not even that old. And then fast forward to several years later, and I see her again, and she has lost like, I don't even know, 60, 70 pounds. Like she's so slimmed down. And like, not that, you know, you gotta be slim or can't be, like, I'm not saying that at all. But like, she had clearly like made a change. And more than that, I mean, that then was like 8 or 9 years ago that I saw her, and she had like slimmed down. She has stayed that size. So like she made a change at that point somewhere along the way. Like I'm not giving myself all the credit, but I do think that, like, you know, going back to the whole, there is no mistakes. There are no mistakes. There are only the things that are meant to happen. And if there's something harsh that happens in the moment, maybe that's exactly what needs to happen to like shake somebody and like wake them up to something that they were ignoring themselves. They were minimizing this, they were downplaying it, they were denying themselves their own truth, until you come along and like kind of shove it in their face a little bit. And do I wish that I had spoken with more compassion and tenderness and love? And absolutely, like I've learned more from those 2 words that I accidentally said than maybe like any other experience in my whole life. Like in terms of how easily and quickly you can break someone's spirit. And that's not to discount though, like the phoenix rising from the ashes. When the old thing burns down, something new emerges. And sometimes that's exactly what's meant to happen. And so this whole like Pisces North Node and like surrendering to the will of the universe and surrendering to what is, like radically accepting whatever is, means like even when people don't like me, like this is a very simplified version, but where I've come to with it and how it's serving me right now is like even when people don't like me, like I'm still serving whatever purpose they need, like in their evolution. Like the way that they feel about me is really between them and the universe. Just like the way I feel about everyone else is between me and the universe. Like we are all manifesting our own experiences. So if somebody doesn't like me, that's not a reflection on me. That's a reflection on them and where they are in their spiritual evolution. And like my job as Pisces North Node is to embody that unconditional love that says like, I see that you don't like me and I love you anyway. Because I trust that like my presence in your life is for a purpose, for your benefit. Otherwise you wouldn't be here right now. So the fact that you're angry at me, I'm growing deeper and deeper in my ability to accept that sometimes like the medicine hurts before it heals. Sometimes like getting mad is the first step in healing, and that anger can burn away the resistance that's holding us back. So there's so many things in this life to accept. As a Pisces North Node, like we're trying to accept it all. We're trying to accept what is, most of all, ourselves. Most of all, like radical self-acceptance of like, I am not perfect. I always look around and am like, you know, that person's got that and that person. I mean, it's just human nature to compare ourselves to other people. And it's so easy to get caught up in feeling inferior to others. And I think the turning point that happened most recently for me, and it's coming up, and I just found the book right after this, the turning point was realizing, like, when you meet someone that has you feeling inferior, like, look to them as a teacher. Like, take that sign of your own inferiority as this person obviously has something that they can teach you. So letting go of needing to be perfect right now is the path to like ultimately being of service the way that we meant to be. So there are no mistakes, there are no wrong turns. Like every single experience that's happened has ultimately been showing us as Pisces North Nodes to release our control, release our grip on the physical reality, on trying to like move the things around, cover the details in the physical reality, let go of that, to pull back and to turn inward, and it's like an interpretive dance, to like go with the flow, go with your own flow, which is to say to like slow down enough to feel the rhythm of this universe, the rhythm of well-being that is dominant in this universe. Like when you slow down, you feel like this rock solid, sturdy vibration of universal well-being. It just like, the fact that our solar system even exists, the fact that we even exist, like it's like an instant bridge back to like how crafty source really is, like how capable this universal intelligence really is. And that, you know, like it's okay to let go of control and trust that the universe is on our side and does have our back. And the more we can lean into that in practical little ways where we bring that faith in the universe to every single aspect of our lives, the universe is there for us. And I think if anything, like Pisces North Node, I also have my Mars in Pisces, so it's kind of a double dose of like Pisces North Nodes are protected beyond their wildest imaginations. And I say like protected, I also mean like the universe is cooperating with us in such like flamboyant ways because they're trying, like the universe is trying to get us to like let go of the physical world. So like if you really look at like the miracles that are manifesting in your life, like the way things are coming together that are just like so amazing and outside of your control, you realize that really like your abundance is coming through like this internal energy stream that you're tuned into. Like you don't need to hold on to the physical world as long as you have like this connection to your spiritual path. That's really ultimately what we're here for. And the more we lean into our spiritual path, the more the universe just like dumps things on us that take care of everything that we need in the physical world. The money, the helpers, the hands to do all the things, like the universe provides all of those cooperative components so that we can relax fully and surrender fully ourselves into the mass consciousness collective that we are all ultimately a part of. So I'll sum it up with just a couple high points that I'm going to read directly out of the notes just to kind of create a timestamp here where you can just like get the high points. I'm going to read you the notes. Okay. So, Pisces North Node. Live life to avoid criticism because we fear we aren't perfect. Spoiler alert, we're not. We're here to learn unconditional love and acceptance by surrendering to the infinite. We are learning to trust our spiritual peace to guide the path. The universe handles the details for us better than we could ever imagine. We are here to disengage our identity from our earthly pursuits. So our role, either in our family, our job, our community, none of that is our real identity. And this lifetime is about going deeper and seeing our higher self as our identity, not just this limited earthly version. Our job as Pisces North Node is to stay in touch with our energetic vision of what it is that we're trying to create, while basically delegating and empowering others to handle the details to bring the vision to fruition. Our goals is to get comfortable with the unknown. That's something that Virgo South Node absolutely dreads. That's why we are compulsive planners. So we can let go of that planning tendency and embrace the unknown by working consciously on our relationship with the unknown. If we know that the universal forces are aligning everything in our favor all the time, it's a lot easier to trust that, yeah, even though we don't know technically what it is, it's good. It's a good thing. Whatever the universe is bringing to me is a good thing, and I accept it with open arms, even when in the moment it may look like a mistake or things not going according to plan. Everything is according to the universe's plan, otherwise it wouldn't be happening. So we are relaxing into this, trusting that the universe is in charge, that the universe's plan is better than my plan. Our goal as Pisces North Node is to follow peace, even when that means reworking the structures of our lives. So let's say we feel in a situation that this is not aligned with my spiritual peace. I don't feel good in this situation. Our job is to walk away from that thing, to leave it behind, to let it go. Virgo as an energy wants to sort it out and wants to figure it out and get all the details organized so that you can make a plan and make a strategy and make a solution and make it happen. Pisces North Node, when you run into something that doesn't feel good, it's not so you can fix it, it's so that you can leave it behind. The spiritual evolution comes from leaving it behind. And I'm going to have to rewatch this and really internalize it, because like I said, I'm still very much in the middle of a situation that I'm hanging on to that I know is not good for me. So more on that as we go. There was a really cool point about conflict and how we avoid it because we don't want to disappoint people. And so before any conflict, we go through this mental anguish where we are terrified of what the other person's going to say, and are we going to know how to respond, and all of these pieces. And again, it comes back to trusting that a higher power is in charge, so we pull back and connect to that higher power. And from that perspective, we know our internal power through our connection with the universe itself. Through that connection, we can also feel our interconnectedness with the other. And through all of that connection, there's a trust that says, whatever happens between me and this other person who, we're having this conflict, whatever happens is meant to happen. So it's all really okay. The importance of solitude and alone time, whether you're spending 30 minutes a day, 5 hours a day, you build your whole life into one giant period of self-care, where you just go from one blissful experience to the next. That's what I'm experimenting with right now. So far, so good. But a certain chunk of quiet, introspective time every single day is going to really help align you with your sense of inner bliss, inner peace. And it's only through that connection with your own bliss that you can suss out, where am I giving away my bliss to anxiety? Because that's basically that signpost that says you're moving into your direction of your past, into your South Node, instead of following your North Star in your future direction. In all of this turning inward, it's about using that eye for detail on myself and my inner world. Using the eye for detail by observing myself and my own actions, my own emotional responses to things, the way that I express myself, the way that I feel about things. Take my attention to detail and turn it inward. And through that, I am optimizing my own internal connection with universal energies. I'm using that Virgo detail-oriented skill set to support my North Node process. So it's about pulling our focus off of other people and really the physical world altogether, and cultivating an awareness of the spiritual realms that we can get to when we access those places of peace inside of ourselves. Listen to me talk like I know how to do it. I am still learning. I can't say it enough. So it's really about this shift between the Virgo South Node end of where do I fit in the world, what's my role out in the world, and as Pisces North Nodes, we're moving towards where do I fit inside of myself. And as we let go of needing to create this physical perfection, it's ultimately that Pisces North Node purpose is because we are ready to realize an even greater degree of our own inherent perfection. The inherent perfection of all that is, like going back to the whole, like, it is perfect because it's happening. It is perfect because we exist. So whatever combination of things make us up, it's perfect because that's how it is. So really anchoring into that trust and that willingness to accept at face value anything that crosses your path. The inner work of Pisces North Node boils down to, releasing self-sabotaging patterns of seeking perfection, basically learning to trust the universe to guide it all. The mistakes are only mistakes because of how we perceive the situation. Exactly what happened was what needed to happen. And that was the moment where, when I heard her say that, I think it was even like not until the third time that I listened to it, but I hear her say that what happened was exactly what needed to happen. And all of a sudden, I flash back to that moment where I implied that this person is fat to her face, and I have been beating myself up for like 15 years over this and learning from that moment in time for 15 years. And today, as she says, like, what happened was exactly what needed to happen. And I'm like, finally, oh my gosh, there's the relief that, like, I can trust that, like, yes, maybe it hurt her in the short term, but that was what needed to happen. And sometimes we may not understand the impact that we need to have on other people's lives until it's way 15 years, 20 years, 100 years, when we croak. When we look back and then we understand, oh, that's why it had to happen that way. And again, I'm talking to myself because I'm in the middle of a situation that I'm still feeling obligated to hold on to when I know I need to release it. So I have still, I'm sure, like, really, like, our North Node journey is a lifelong thing. So I'm guessing there will always be the next level of, like, what to let go of in the physical so that we can merge more with non-physical. And when we do that and we merge more with the non-physical, we're living at a new place. And now here's a new thing to, like, let go out of the physical so we can, it's just a continuous process. And no matter where you are on that journey, I am sending you some of this Pisces North Node unconditional love to say, like, wherever you are right now is perfect. Wherever you are, whatever you're facing right now is exactly where you're supposed to be. And the universe is, like, constantly lining things up in your favor. So I love you all, no matter which sign your North Node is in. My Pisces North Node unconditionally loves all of you. So there's that. You can take it or leave it. This brings me to the end of my notes. So do the things where you like the video and you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and all of those good things. And until next time, dear friends, you take such good care of yourselves. That's, like, the whole point. Pisces North Node friends, I love you. Take such good care of yourselves, and so will you.